Hello everybody, a new set has dropped in Eternal, and you know what that means. It's time for some spicy brews. I've been waiting for this to come out for a long time. And well, one of the first cards I wanted to mess around with was Corrupt, because I did get lucky enough to spoil it. I ended up in a Grenadin deck. I played this a little bit on stream. I think that it's a fairly cheap deck. It's got a lot of pieces already that are from previous sets. You want to have lots of Torrent of Spiders, you want to have things like Madness and Brimstone Altar and Quarry, of course, and you know, like the Combust and Devour, Grenadin Drone, all of those standard kind of pieces to the sacrifice deck. Now, what you gain from set 3 is you gain probably the best card in the deck. Scraptank used to be very nice, but it's fairly easy to kill, and it doesn't do a whole lot after it's dead. I mean, you get a couple of Grenadin with it, but if they have like a Torch especially, the fact that it dies to something like Torch a lot of the time is a little scary. And, you know, being able to also get it with a Death Strike or whatever and only have 2 Grenadin out of the deal is not a great trade-off. Whereas Gearcruncher, well, this thing makes like 8 Grenadin. It's a lot more expensive. I mean, 2 more power is actually a lot, but you get a lot out of it. And if they don't answer it immediately, it ends the game faster than Scraptank does, because the actual Scraptank just deals damage. This one gets rid of enemy resources in a way that Scraptank just doesn't. You can kill almost anything when this thing comes down. Almost never see it trigger for more than like 6 Grenadin, and then when you're actually activating it, of course, it's more than 7, and that's if you haven't played any Grenadin that turn. So it kills almost everything with its activated ability, and it's not an ultimate. You can pay 3 and exhaust it every turn that it lives. So Gearcruncher is incredibly good. You do get other pieces too. I'm playing 1 Sparkcatcher. I need to move this around. I'm not sure exactly what to do with it. I might want to have more. I might want to change it so that it's like another Madness or a Disassembler, or I might just take the Disassemblers out and play more Sparkcatchers. I think that might even be the play here. I'm just kind of testing these. I slowly remove pieces from them eventually because I didn't like them as much as I wanted to. And it's really just about Gearcruncher now. There's a little bit of extra oomph from things like Sparkcatcher. There's a little bit of help from Grenadin Bellower, which can be very powerful. When you have a bunch of assembly lines and you just sacrifice a Grenadin Bellower, it's really nice. But the other big thing is Combustion Cell. This is the so it's kind of Gearcruncher's on its whole other level. Combustion Cell is the second pairing of that. It's slightly worse in terms of its impact, except for the fact that you probably can't play Gearcruncher without it. This thing will let you race up to Gearcruncher a lot faster, and when you're sacrificing them to Combustion Cell, you're sacrificing your Grenadin, you get Grenadin for each Grenadin in your void. So you're really not spending them, you're just kind of getting free power. If you're using it to cast Gearcruncher anyways. I've had 3 Combustion Cells in play, just sacrifice 3 Grenadin, get Gearcruncher, and boom, make back those 3 Grenadin and all of your other Grenadin that are in the void. It's very strong. So Combustion Cell is very nice, Gearcruncher is really nice, couple Disassemblers and Sparkcatchers and Bellowers and things like that, but for the most part, the rest of the deck is all set 1 and 2, which just makes things so much nicer. Things that you will want to make room for sure. You really need to have 4 Granite Waystones. I don't know about Amethyst Waystone. You might not need any. I'm kind of toying around with one. It hasn't really triggered very often. It's not a big deal. But Granite Waystone, you definitely need as many of them as you can. I mean, draw Grenadin every single time, and it's 0 cost for your deck. And then, of course, Crest of Chaos would be very nice to have, because just great mana fixing. And yeah, like the deck, it's been doing okay. I think that there's still definitely some room to move some things around. Like I said, the Sparkcatcher, Disassembler kind of things are very much up in the air. These slots need to move around a bit, but I'm keeping in at least the 1 Sparkcatcher to play with it, because I don't want to cut all of them. I feel like the Entomb's pretty important. It's like a second Grenadin drone. So it might just be Disassembler. It's just that Disassembler feels so good when you have a Brimstone Altar and you just burn somebody out from 15 life. So it's a tough call. I'm kind of testing them around right now, so you definitely want to shift those numbers as you play with this deck. And speaking of playing with this deck, let's get some games under our belt. Let's see how we do in 5 games.